In this video, we are reacting to the one, to the only, Mr. Provost Park Pass in regards to the Disneyland Union situation. We're gonna watch his video, which was absolutely fantastic, and then we're gonna react to it along the way, like we always do here on OG 55. We're also gonna talk about that Hungry Bear news that was just dropped the other day. We're gonna talk about that, give our little insight on that situation, which is very, very interesting. All coming up next on OG 55. What is going on, everybody? It is, I don't know what is going on out here in California, George, but it is hotter than Natty walking on lava, bro. It is hot, 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 dude. I'm like sweating, bro. The AC is not even working. But George, welcome. It's good to see you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's what I'm hearing out there with all you California locals, that it's a scorcher.
Yeah, dude, it's super hot. If you could let everybody know, it actually is kind of sticky, George. To be honest, it's kind of sticky. If you can let everybody home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There it is. Okay, now I do want to say one thing before we get started. I just want to thank everybody for all the support. We've gotten so much support. Like recently, it's been crazy. Like with the videos have been really crushing it with the memberships and everything. So I just want to take a moment to just say thank you to everybody, because you know it's humbling. We understand there's a lot of options out there, not just on YouTube. I mean, everywhere, like, you know, streaming services, you know, all kinds of stuff. And the fact that so many people take the time to watch us is crazy, right? So we are humbled, and we want to thank you so much. So we do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. Oh yeah, I forgot. You said sticky, George. There we go. Yeah. All right. Now it feels right.
Feel better?
I feel better now. Yeah, I had to get it out of my system. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. This is Provost Park Fast. We met this gentleman at the parks like a year or so ago.
It was during the Disney 100 for the opening of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and we were in line with him and stuff, and he was telling jokes. He's really, really great guy. Yeah. But he has a great video on his channel, Provost Park Place, and shout out to his wife Amanda as well. Amanda and him were on the channel a while back, and they are so fun, so fun. So shout out to Amanda as well. But he made a video. Disneyland cast members can now strike. What does that mean? Everything you need to know. Now, I've watched this video, and George has not, so we're kind of switching it up a little bit here. But he kind of, the thing I love about what Chris does here, he really cuts through the BS, dude. There's a lot of BS out there with this strike and the union stuff, and Chris really, you know, like a hot knife through butter, baby. He cuts through all of it. You know what I'm saying? So we'll go ahead and play it, George. And if there's anything you want to talk about along the way, let me know, and I will pause it.
Sounds good.
Here we go. And is he doing the 5-day beer challenge like we are?
He must be, and if he is, man, he got all of us beat.
Yeah, exactly. Looking good.
We got to talk about some big news about Disney. There's strikes and everything's going on, and all this has happening, and there's a lot, and it is complicated. So here's what we're going to do. First, let's acknowledge the fact that I'm wearing a different color shirt. I've decided that anytime there's breaking news about the strike or whatever, I'll wear a different color shirt. That way, if you ever see a thumbnail of me in a different color shirt, you immediately know, okay, it's going to be about business or breaking news or something along those lines about the strike, so that way you can choose to either watch it or not. Makes it easier for you guys.
And see, we're wearing black, so he can stand out. You know what I'm saying? So he really shines.
Yeah. And do you like the color? Do you like it? Do you think it looks good? Comment down below if you like it. I mean, it's just my thought. The union cast members had a vote if they could go on strike. And you might have heard about this, and it passed by 99%. Here's what I want to do, though. I'm going to give you information. I want to make sure I am not telling you how to think. I'm going to try to give you just the facts, so you can make up your own mind. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Number two, I want you to realize that social media has fed us a lie, and we're starting to believe the lie. And that lie is, if somebody disagrees with you, then they are against you. It's either you're with me or you're my enemy. And I feel like social media is pushing that agenda for some reason, and that is not true. I just want you to know.
Yeah, and actually, that's a great point. I'm glad he brought this up. Now, look, there are some assholes out there, no doubt about it. You know, you get comments, and there's just people just being jerks. You know, and with those people, you either ignore them or you block them. Right? That's kind of my motto with it. You know, you can't reason with some people, right? But for the most part, the vast majority of people, you know, when you're in really this community or really any community, you're going to have disagreements, you know what I'm saying? And that's okay. And it doesn't mean that you hate the person. It doesn't mean that, you know, you can't be friends with them or whatever. You can be friends with someone you disagree with. We're friends with a lot of people we don't agree with, you know what I'm saying? And it's healthy to have that dialogue and that pushback, you know, back and forth and what have you. But he's right. It's gotten so polarizing in fandoms, even politics or all of this stuff, where it's like, it's so fucking tribal now, isn't it, George?
It really is. And another thing is people have to be able to identify difference of an opinion or a healthy debate opposite of arrogance. You know,
that's interesting. What do you mean by that?
There's two different kind of ways where you can disagree with someone and they can have that healthy debate of saying, well, you know, this is how I see things, or this is how you see things. But when you come across as being arrogant, where
your opinion is the end all be all, start and stop,
self-righteousness and everything.
Okay, yeah. And that kind of fits into the category I was talking about a little bit ago, where like that's just being an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 100%. I completely agree.
That if you disagree with me or if I disagree with your thoughts, that doesn't mean we still can't be friends. We can be friends. And it's okay to have different points of view. Take a deep breath and think, okay, just a different point of view. That's perfectly fine. And number 3, I'm going to give you, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you my opinion of what you should do if Disneyland happens to go on strike. And keep this in mind. This is just my opinion. Because a lot of people I've been noticing comments are asking, like, well, what do I do? What should I do? I'm not here to tell you what you should do. I'm just going to give you what my opinion is, what I'm going to do, and then you guys can make your decisions for yourself. All right, so let's get into this. This is a very complicated issue, and I'm going to give you some information so you guys can be aware of what is going on. A little while ago, the unions gave Disneyland cast members a little button, and the button had a Mickey Mouse fist like this, and it was raised up like this, and they told the union told the cast members to wear that button while they were working. Then Disney came back and says, hey, that's against company policies. You can't wear things that are not Disney approved on your uniform. Then the unions came back and says, oh my gosh, you are violating our rights. We are going to have a vote to go on strike. Now, that's all true. Let's push pause and figure out what's really going on there. Do you think the union really cares about the button? No, they don't. But they needed a catalyst in order to call for a vote strike. So by giving this button, they knew what's going to happen. That's against their policy. They knew they weren't going to allow the Disney cast members to wear the button. But because they said their rights are being violated, they can now vote to go on strike. And when they voted to go
see, that's interesting. I did not know that.
I didn't know either.
So they kind of they knew what they were doing, obviously, right? They knew the policy. So they're like, okay, wear these buttons. Management will get triggered. Management will not allow it. Management won't want it. They'll tell you can't wear it, and then that'll trigger the vote. It's smart. It's actually really smart.
Basically, the unions put a bug in the cast members' ears.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
On strike, they included the button right in the reasons why they're going to go on strike. They're like, hey, we must be able to have this button, right? Then they also included things like increased pay and better medical, little things like that. But the whole catalyst was through a button, and they needed to have that little catalyst. Now, this is really smart, maybe on the union side. But here's the thing: let's just think about this: do you think the union really cares about that button? What if Disney comes back on the negotiation table and sits down with the union? And they're like, you know what? You're right. All the cast members now can wear union buttons. And do you think that the union's going to be satisfied with that answer? And Disney is going to be like, hey, we gave you what you asked for. And do you think the cast members are going to be like, yay, now we get to wear the button? Not really, because really the whole reason it's not about this button.
Yeah, I got you.
It's about other things.
I got you.
Now that might have worked had Disney just said yes to the buttons from the get-go.
Well, yeah. If Disney didn't say anything about the buttons, they wouldn't have had that catalyst.
Exactly,
like he's talking about, you know.
Yeah.
But they fell for the trap, and that's exactly what it was. It was a trap, you know. no matter how you cut it.
It was a trap.
It's about more money.
It's a
about
trap.
Different types of things that the union feels important about, but they needed a catalyst. So that was this button. So I've seen a lot of information about the button. That's what this button is for. Now, on July 19th, the cast members had a vote in order if they wanted to have a strike or not, be able to go on strike or not. This is where it gets a little complicated. So the union says they're not going to release the numbers, but yet all of a sudden the numbers were released. 99% of the union voted to support the strike. 99%. That's a very, very attractive number to media and social media and news outlets, because they're like 99% of the cast members, they voted for the strike. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to peel back the layers and think what's really going on here. Not the 14,000 cast members, only a little over 9,000 of them voted. Okay, 9,000 voted. So you have about 5,000 that did not vote. Why? This happens a lot in strikes when unions are voting to go on strike, because in the past, I'm not saying unions still do this, but in the past, if I was, let's say, my name was John Doe, and they went to vote to have a strike, and I voted, I'm like, I don't want to have the strike. All of a sudden, somehow it would get leaked. Like, oh, John Doe over there, he voted, he didn't want to go on strike. And all the other employees would find out that I didn't want to go on strike. And there's retribution for that one particular employee. So a lot of employees, if they don't want to go on strike, do you know what they do? They just don't vote, because they don't want to have that retribution. They don't want to have that fear of being not seen as part of the whole collective. So only a little over 9,000 of the 14,000 voted, which is an important number to kind of be aware of.
Which a lot of people aren't talking about, right, George? Where a lot of people are assuming everybody voted, and it was 90% of all of them. It wasn't. It was only 9,000 of, he said, I think the 14,000. So really just about, maybe about half. Maybe a little more than half.
A little more than half, yeah. And that makes sense, because I was getting confused, because with several articles I was reading, I was kind of seeing both of those numbers being thrown around, but it wasn't necessarily clear as to why, because they would say, oh, the 14,000 union-based cast members, and then it would say the 9,500 cast members that voted for it. And I'm like, okay, there's two separate numbers here, but what does that necessarily mean? But now, thanks to Provost, he clarified that up.
Yep. And that's why I really appreciate this video that he made, because it clears up a lot of the BS, because there is a lot of BS out there in regards to this whole situation. And I got to be 100% honest. I'm not an expert on this topic at all. I'm really not. So when I watch Provost, Chris, break it down like this and kind of cut through what's true and what's not, I appreciate it. It teaches you what's really, really going on. There's no narratives. There's none of that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I see a lot of things, and there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it kind of irritates me. And a lot of people are like, 14,000 voted for it. 99%. That means only like 168 people voted against it. There's never been an election, a non-rigged election, where you have 100% people vote, and it's just kind of crazy. So just kind of think that through. Why is the media saying 99%? Because it's a good power number for them to say that they have a lot of support for their cast members. Okay. Now, the other thing I hear is it seems that a lot of people don't understand how strikes work. So there are two different types of strikes. There was what's called an open-ended strike. An open-ended strike is what you're probably most familiar with. We saw the Screen Actors Guild did that. The Writers Guild did that. An open-ended strike says, hey, we're going to go on strike, and we are not coming back to work until we're going to go, we'll stay out of work for indefinitely until our needs are met. That's called an open-ended strike. The unions at Disney, they have called for a limited strike, what's called a limited strike. I'm releasing this video on the 21st of July, a Sunday and 21st of July. Now, on Monday, the July 22nd, and Tuesday, July 23rd, the union is going to be meeting with Disney, and they're going to be trying to negotiate and come to some type of agreement. They've stated that the strike is a last resort. The strike is a last resort. They don't want to go on strike. Strikes are very difficult. They're particularly difficult for the cast members who all of a sudden are not working. So it's very difficult for them. But the cast members need to be united to have their voices heard. So it's a powerful tool, but it's also very difficult. So on the 22nd and the 23rd, Disney and the union will be meeting together to decide if they can come to agreement. If they can't, if for some reason they can't, then the union might call for what's called a limited strike. And if they call for a limited strike, what that means is they might say, okay, guys, this Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, do not go into work. Do not go into work. And then say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're going to go back into work. And then we just want to show Disney how important we are and how difficult it's going to be if we are going to strike. So it's called a limited strike. And then the following week, they might say, okay, this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, don't go to work. and it's going on. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh my gosh, if they do go on strike, Disney is going to be shut down. This is where I need you kind of to think this through. Disney's probably not going to be shut down, guys. It'd be very difficult to really shut down Disney, because what's going to happen is Disney California Adventure and Downtown Disney, those cast members, this is not their union. Their union vote doesn't come up until September. So if Disneyland employees, cast members, they do go on strike and aren't coming to work, Disney has the right to go to Disney California Adventure and Downtown Disney employees. Hey, guys, come in and fill in those spots that aren't being working. I know you work at the Little Mermaid and Disney California Adventure, but for your shift this...
Right, exactly. The people that are saying that Disneyland's going to get shut down, honestly, it's not going to happen. And Provost is absolutely right. They're going to pull from wherever they have to, whether it's DCA or whatever, to fill in those gaps. They might even be short-staffed. There's only so many people you can pull, so there might be a little short-staffed, but they're not going to shut down. It's like, come on, fear-mongering BS.
This is what's so frustrating to me. The people that say Disney is a top brass, high-quality company, but yet they say, oh my gosh, Disney's going to shut down this and shut that. You don't think Disney has steps prepared for this kind of stuff? I mean, they've been in the business for
a little while,
over
right?
100. Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, it's only been a little over 100 years. I mean, but who's counting? But it's like, and you mentioned it before in a previous video, Walt Disney himself had to deal with strikes.
Yeah, he had to deal with the strikes as well. So it's been an ongoing thing with Disney. This is nothing new.
Say, I need you working Peter Pan. And I've seen a lot of misinformation. A lot of people are saying, well, geez, if Disney does that, they can't expect the Disney California Adventure employees to come over and do that. Those people, they're in their union. They're not going to support this. They're not going to do this. What they're really saying is this. I don't think they're thinking it through. If your employer says, hey, Chris, you work at Little Mermaid. Tomorrow I need you to work at Peter Pan. And if I refuse to do that, it's not my union. That's a different union. If I refuse to do that, I could then be fired because I don't have the right to say I'm not going to be working.
Yeah, you're not protected. You're not protected because it's like he's right. It's not your union. So how many cast members are willing to put their jobs on the line, willing to lose their jobs for cast members that are on strike that are not going to lose their jobs because they're protected because their union is striking? It's very unlikely. Chris is 100% right on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to go on strike because it's not my union on strike. So those employees will go over and they will fill in those voids and vacancies, and they'll be doing double duty while the Disneyland employees are on strike. So Disneyland is not going to be shut down because of a strike. All right, it'd be really, I would be incredibly shocked. I just don't see that happening in any way, shape, or form. Okay, now this is where the other area I need to talk to you about. There is no easy fix for this particular problem. And it's starting to irritate me because I see this all over. Somebody sent me this TikTok, right? And on the TikTok, there's this guy talking. He's like, well, what they should have done is, and I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but it just irritates me. It's like, what they should have done, so they should have taken $200,000 for the acolyte. They should not have made an acolyte. They should have just given that 200 million, and they should have just given it to all the Disney cast members, and problem solved. And people are like, yeah, that's so smart.
That's not smart at all. First of all, they're different divisions. Okay. It's not that easy just to do that. Number one. And number two, I don't know. The people, I have no idea who he's talking about. It's on I guess he said it was a TikTok video or something, but it's like, come on, you guys. That's ridiculous. I mean, what do you think, George? Just pull it from the acolyte.
Yeah, just pull it from the studio and give it to the parks. Because apparently the parks are over the studio, so it's like, why should we give a shit of what funds go into the studio, right?
well, and that's the thing that really has always frustrated me, George, is that a lot of people in the park community seem to think that, and look, we like we said, you can have differences of opinion, and that's fine,
right?
But the studio is the heartbeat of the company. Here, let's go ahead and just like to remind everybody, okay? It's not just OG saying this. It's not just
The real heartbeat of this company was, is, and will always be the film business.
Okay? From Roy E. Disney, right? Roy E. Disney, the nephew said it himself, was, is, and will always be the film business. The entire company runs off of the studio. So it's not wasting money to invest heavily into the studio. And the studio right now is the part that needs the investing. That's the part that is going through the seismic shift. The industry is going through a major transition. They need to focus on it, and they need to get it fixed. It's not a waste of money. The parks are largely a very stable division of the Walt Disney Company. You don't get a tutor for your A student. You get a tutor for the C+ student. Okay, the studio is a C+ student right now. Okay, we need a freaking tutor. Okay,
exactly.
So that's why it's so important to invest in the studio. It's not wasting money. And if you don't have any IP, that if the studio can't produce high quality IP that people love, you have nothing to feed the parks with. The parks utilize that IP. It's that flywheel. Yeah,
exactly.
No, yeah, and Chris is right. Go ahead, George.
No, really quick. I was just going to say, as far as funding the cast members with the Acolyte money, even though it's a subdivision of the Walt Disney Company, that is still Lucasfilm, because that's for the Star Wars banner. So that's even further down the pipeline to get it to the cast members than if it was actually coming from Disney Animation or Disney Live Action. This is coming from Lucasfilm.
I know. It's a silly notion, and it's just, I think, probably just a low-key way of just shitting on the like talking crap about the Acolyte or whatever. I'm not really sure. I didn't see the video. I don't have any context, but that's what it sounds like at face value, the way it's being described.
What that person really is saying is, all those people who worked on the Acolyte, all those cast members, all those artists, all of the people who worked on that particular project, we should have just fired them all and given all their salaries to the other employees, and that would have solved the problem. It's not that easy. It's very complicated. So these are very complicated issues. So if you're watching any social media and somebody's like, I got the perfect solution, be kind of wary of this, because this is a very complicated issue. Okay, now.
So I will say this. I have the perfect solution. No, I'm just kidding.
Lastly, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you my opinion of what I am going to do if Disneyland goes on strike. This is just my opinion. Keep that in mind. If you disagree with me, we can still be friends. That's perfectly fine. This is just my opinion. More importantly, though, if somebody disagrees with you in the comments, they're not your enemy. Don't attack them. I don't like that. In fact, if I see that, I'm just going to get rid of that kind of garbage, because the world is just too negative anyways. Yep. So let's just get into this. If Disneyland goes on strike, okay, I will not be going during the strike. But keep in mind, I am an annual passport holder, or what's called a magic key holder. I can go to Disneyland most times I want to, because I have that magic key. So it's easy for me to go, and it's really easy for me not to go. So since I have a passport, or the magic key, or the annual pass, or whatever you want to call that, if Disney goes on strike, I'm not going to go, because I can go any other time. That being said, if I did not have a magic key, and I did not have an annual passport, or any of those, whatever words you want to call it, an annual pass, and I lived in Iowa, or I lived in Michigan, or I lived in Idaho, and I had made a family vacation to go to Disneyland during.
He left out Colorado.
I go, yes, 100%.
Yeah, the family from Colorado. Shout out to Jay Shearer, by the way. He's a family from Colorado.
I would definitely go. It's too difficult to tell a little 11-year-old boy and an 8-year-old daughter who got a trip planned for Christmas. So guess what, guys? For Christmas, we're going to be going to Disneyland in the summer. And all of a sudden say, guys, hey, we're not going to be going because Disneyland's going on.
Really quick.
Cast members, they're having disagreement.
I got you.
Okay, again, why is it always about the kids? We're talking about Disney.
Right, exactly. Come on, this adult stuff here.
With the Disneyland's having disagreement. Kids aren't going to understand that, and you guys don't need to lose your money. I've seen a lot of people make comments like this. I think it's insensitive. We're like, well, yeah, you just eat the $10,000. Yeah, so if you don't lose the money, you support the cast members. That is asinine to me. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has the right to tell you how you can spend your money.
Yeah, well,
the government with taxes, granted, but other than that, nobody has a right. If you've already booked your vacation, I believe, and you don't have an annual pass, and you're booked a vacation, you got your airfare, and you got your hotels, your tickets purchased, go. You can go. There are ways that you can support the cast members if there is a strike going on while you're on your vacation. Don't buy merchandise while you're at Disneyland. Don't buy food while you're in Disneyland. When you see the cast members outside, you can give them water because it's going to be hot. You can tell them you support.
See, this is refreshing, dude. I have to say, this is very refreshing to hear Chris talk, because Chris, it really gets down to the nuance. And just he provides context. We live in this world right now, and he talks about it here a little bit with social media, where it's like either it's 0 or 100. There's no in between. Either you have to like just completely abandon the mouse house, you can't go at all to support the cast members, or you go and you're just a total schmuck for going. There is a middle ground, and he's showing you that middle ground. You know, if you see the cast members, you can give them bottles of water if it's a hot day. You don't have to buy merch, or you don't have to buy food. You can scale back. There's multiple levels of support here that you can show the cast members. You know what I'm saying? It's not an all or nothing thing.
Right. Although I will say, though,
you can still
really quick.
Yeah.
I will say, though, if I have a dining reservation at Lamplight Lounge, I'm eating.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like, you know, it's hard to get into.
Support them. You can maybe even take one day off and say, you guys, this day we're going to do something else. We're going to go to Knott's Berry Farm. We're going to go to Universal Studios. We're going to go to the beach. I did a whole video on cool, fun activities that you can do in Anaheim. Watch it over here, somewhere around there. You can go to the House of Chimney Cakes. You can go down to Balboa and get a Balboa bar. You can go to the beach. There's so many cool things to do in Anaheim. Go see a baseball game if you want.
Actually, it's not Anaheim, but my mom and I had just like a family trip together. It was me and mom last weekend, and we stayed at the Hyatt. What was it? The Hyatt Regency, I think it was. Right? It's in Huntington Beach, and we just were there for the weekend, and it was beautiful. It's in the Orange County area. I don't know how far it is from Disneyland. I would guess maybe 25 minutes, maybe a half hour. I'm not really sure exactly, but it was gorgeous. It was right there on the beach. The beach was beautiful. They have like a little they call it a downtown, but it's kind of like a small town downtown, right? Like you know, and there's like little shops, and you can buy like little knickknacks and stuff. They have like little Mexican restaurants everywhere. Really, really cool stuff, man. And that's a great alternative, I think, to Disney. You know, you still get that OC vibe, you know, that California. But, you know, it's not the parks. And we had a really good time. I loved it. That hotel, by the way, the Hyatt Regency, is absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Want to do that. But you don't have to cancel your vacation because of what's going on. I don't believe that if you are a non-annual passport holder. If you have no tickets and you don't have an annual passport and you're thinking of going, you can at this point say, well, maybe I'll just wait to see how this shakes out and decide where I want to go. Or you could go to Walt Disney World. They have an amazing sell over Walt Disney World. Or you go to do any other theme parks that you want to go to, or just go somewhere else. We just got back from Yellowstone. I'm going to be putting some videos up and showing how much fun we had in Yellowstone. I actually have a whole bunch of other Disneyland videos I filmed a couple of weeks ago. I'll be putting those out periodically as we're going along. But this is just my opinion. That's just my opinion. So to quickly recap, because I have a Magic Key and annual pass, I'm not going to go during the strike because I can go at any time I want to, and it's not that much of an inconvenience for me to do that to support the cast members. If I was a family in, let's just say, in Missouri, and I bought a vacation package and I put the money down, we sort of spent the money, then if that was me, then yeah, I would go. I would definitely go. I'm not going to lose that money because that's just a lot of money to lose. So that's how I feel about it. And
really quick, I just want to add in there as well. Now, for everyone watching, this is Chris's Chris Provost, that he was saying that if the strike happens to happen,
right,
these are some other options. Hopefully we don't get to this point. Hopefully,
right,
you know, on Monday and Tuesday, hopefully, you know, Disney, the unions, and the cast members can come up with, you know, some sort of, agreement, you know, that everyone can be happy and satisfied with, so that they won't have to get to this point.
And likely, to be honest with you, they probably will. You know, I'm not trying to say
not one side of the party is going to want the strike.
They both want a resolution to this. You're right. And most of the time these things end up shaking out and working out, you know? So now there will be some back and forth. Disney will make an offer. They'll reject it. That's part of the negotiation, you know, and there's going to be all this, you know, fervor online. Oh, the union rejected this or that. Don't worry. It's part of the process. It will shake out eventually.
You might want to wait to figure out what you want to do, or go to Walt Disney World, or do whatever else you want to do. That's perfectly fine. This is just my opinion. Keep in mind, this is an incredibly complex issue. And if anybody tries to dumb it down for you and says, oh, this is really easy, all that Disney has to do is this, then they probably don't understand business very well, because what you have to realize that the bottom line is Disney has to take those dollars to pay the cast members more. It's got to come from somewhere. And so that means maybe increased ticket prices for everybody who's going. That's one way that they could supplement that. And other people are like, well, they just need to take it from all the movies and put it on there. Those are different divisions.
Yeah, exactly. And what he said initially, where he said they might raise prices on ticketing and stuff.
But people would then bitch about that. But then it's like the same people that bitch about it's like, well, no offense, but you were in support of the cast members getting a raise. What do you want Disney to do?
Well, yeah, and people have to understand that could be. He's right, and we talked about it actually on Theme Park Conductor's channel like a few days ago, where it's like, yeah, look, if we lived in a perfect world and the money came out of Bob Iger's paycheck, fine, that'd be great. You know what I'm saying? But we don't live in a perfect world. Disney is going to offset the loss of paying people more. They're going to offset it somewhere, and it's probably going to be passed on to you. So you're probably going to pay more with ticketing, probably going to pay more with food or whatever. That's just the way it is. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't support the cast members. The cast members are amazing. We support them, but we also have to be smart and understand, like, this is one of the things that is likely to occur. Now, does it mean that Disney is expensive only because of the cast members and the unions and stuff? And
absolutely not.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But it's part of the equation, though. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. And honestly, folks, I said it before and I'll say it again. With all this news that's going to be coming out of D23 for Disneyland, for Walt Disney World, with Disneyland Forward, with Beyond Big Thunder, with the Tropical Americas, with Pandora, possibly Zootopia. When all this is said and done, ticket prices and annual pass prices and Magic Key prices, they're going to go up. And they're not going to go up by a few dollars, folks. Just be prepared for that.
Be prepared. And that's completely unrelated to this union thing, and it's still going to go up. So it's not just the union and the cast members and their pay that's causing the high prices. But it is, I think, fair to say it's a part of the puzzle. You know what I'm saying? And if they have to pay these cast members a lot more, Disney's going to figure
out. Don't be surprised.
Exactly.
Don't be surprised. Yeah.
Don't be shocked. Do not be shocked at all.
I don't think people understand that those are different divisions, and it makes it really complicated. And it's a complicated issue.
Well, and it's different divisions, and it's different. Even like when he was using the example of someone was saying take it from the Acolyte. That's a different studio. I mean, Disney owns it, but it's like he's saying, it's not so simple like that, right? It's not like it's not as.
That's basically like Disney going to OLC, the Oriental Land Company, that funds Tokyo Disney, and say, pay for this Disneyland attraction.
Yeah, exactly. There's red tape. There's hurdles. There's a way that they do things, and it's not as easy just to be like, well, just pull it from the Acolytes. Come on, you guys.
I got a little worked up. Anyways, just got back from Yellowstone. It was so fun, and I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say what, but in one of the videos, I did get attacked by an animal.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to say what type of animal it was. It was awful. It was embarrassing, and I don't want to talk about it, but you will see a video about that coming out, and it was horrible. True story.
Oh, wow.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. You are amazing. Remember, I think you're amazing. Even if you disagree with what I think or say, that's okay. We're still friends. Life's too short. You're still my friend. We can still go to a baseball game and have hot dogs together, and we can still get along, even if we have different points of view. Don't let anybody make you think otherwise. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Great message.
Very good. But my money's on a woodpecker.
On a woodpecker. Oh man, that would hurt. I've had a few encounters. I'm an avid walker. I like to walk in the morning and stuff, and even in the afternoons, I walk a lot. But I've had a few close calls with like some squirrels out here. I don't know. Do you guys have squirrels in PA? Is it a big thing over there?
Oh yeah, squirrels, chipmunks.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, we don't have as many chipmunks.
You got attacked by a squirrel?
No, but I've had a few close calls where they were like making noises at me and like ready to go, and I went the other way. I'm like, I'm not messing with this. Yeah, I've had a few close calls.
That's interesting because all the squirrels out here are so docile. They're so calm. You could like just go right up to them and they're fine. It's like it's those Cali squirrels.
Well, you have to be careful, and the reason why you're right, they're usually very docile, and they'll usually run away from you. The ones that are aggressive like that,
Rabies.
yes, they have some disease or like so that's why it's kind of scary when you see them like that because they're what I'm saying, they bite you. It's bad news bears. I've also on my walks I see all kinds of wildlife. It's crazy because I don't live like in the wild, like I'm in LA. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm in Southern California, but I don't live like in like these crazy like rural areas. But I saw coyotes like walk in the streets, dude, like in the streets, like on the streets and the sidewalk.
Wow.
I'm telling you, and that's scary because those things can mess you up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen all kinds of stuff, man. But we also have a lot of bunny rabbits around here and stuff. It's kind of nice to see the little animals and stuff. But yeah,
nice.
when the rabies squirrels come for you, though, run the other way.
Yeah.
Run the other
Now,
way.
speaking of bad news bears.
Well, yeah, and rabies. You never know. I don't know if one of these country bears might have rabies. You never know. I'm just kidding. We love our country bears. We have some hungry bear news / country bear news. This is from the GOAT that we call the GOAT of Disney news. This is Mr. Scott Goosen. A Hungry Bear restaurant at Disneyland Park is being reimagined and will reopen as Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree. The restaurant will be inspired by the country bears and their travels to music halls across the U.S. So this is interesting. This is the saga of Disneyland Resort and Country Bears, because we've been speculating with the Big Al statue, which looks expensive. It really does. It's even, I think they even have like a phone charger next to it now or something.
They added more to it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's right in front of the DVC. I wonder why they did that. I'm sure totally coincidental. I'm sure, totally coincidence. But we were saying, and rightfully so. I mean, it makes sense. Like, hey, maybe there's gonna be a bigger country bear, push for DCA. Maybe Grizzly River Run will get like a country bear, kind of like maybe I don't want to say overlay, but kind of add some animatronics along the way. It'd be kind of fun. They already redid or reimagined the country bears over there in Florida. So it makes sense. Like, hey, while they're doing that, maybe they can create a couple more bears out here for California, buy them in bulk, buy them in twos. Right. But then this happens. I'm like, well, okay, that kind of changes things a little bit. And I mean, unless they're going to have country bears represented in both parks, maybe they'll do the country bear thing for Grizzly River Run and do this. It's possible. I don't know. It's got my creative speculation juices flowing, though. What say you, Mr. Italiano?
I think after hearing this, I mean, I knew something was going to go on why they would close Hungry Bear to begin with, without changing something. I've heard that there were rumors that they were going to expand out the kitchen portion of the building,
right.
But nothing as far as beyond that. But after this news, it does make me think that if the country bears are going to come back in a bigger way at Disneyland, and I wonder if they hinted with the Big Al statue over at DCA just because they don't really have nowhere to put it because of the heavy construction that's going on over there. Once it's all done, I wonder if they'll move the Big Al statue over.
You mentioned that. And I think that's actually a pretty solid theory where like right now they can't put it there because everything's under construction, right? Mm-hmm. So what you do is you put it in DCA. You temporarily kind of use the statue as a way to boost people going up to the DVC thing, right? So it's a temporary fix. And then when this thing opens, you move it over to its permanent home. It's a solid theory. I don't love it because I really want DCA to get love, but this is possible, George. I mean, that's a good theory.
I mean, before they even made this announcement, I actually thought Hungry Bear was going to turn into Hungry Gator. That was going to be kind of like right off of Tiana's Bayou Adventure and have Lewis on the sign and what have you, especially with Tiana because she's always big with food. So I thought for sure that would have been kind of the route. But I mean, I'm very glad to see that the Hungry Bear is staying and they're attaching the country bears to it because that tells me that they want the country bears back. Not even just in the parks, but at Disneyland, because the fact that they were there before was taken out for Winnie the Pooh and now possibly getting a revival, and I am very excited and happy to see, especially with D23 coming up, could we maybe get some extra announcements off of that? The only thing that I hope that they keep, and probably not, they'll probably get rid of it, is I absolutely love that chicken sandwich over at Hungry Bear.
Well, and that's actually interesting you mentioned that. And I do too. The spicy one, right?
Yes.
It says here, Disneyland Resort says the restaurant's new menu.
Those bastards.
There we go. They get you every time. Will be inspired by the Country Bear's favorite regional barbecue dishes. The restaurant will not be a character dining location. More details and reopening date will be announced later. Probably D23 will announce it. But it's a barbecue place, which is kind of interesting because we lost the Big Thunder barbecue.
True. And I do love barbecue. I'm not going to lie. I do love me some good barbecue.
Oh, I do too. I mean, I would prefer Korean barbecue. I mean, but I'll take this kind of barbecue as well. I hope they have some sort of spicy dish, though. I know it's barbecue, but I don't know. I miss that. I'm gonna miss that chicken sandwich.
Yeah, I really, man.
I know. But hey, what can you do, right? But overall, I think it's a positive change, for the location, and it also makes me wonder, what is the overall plan for that area with the Hungry Country Bear now?
Yes.
And Pooh, is it going to be, is that going to be called Critter Country, or how is that going to work now with it?
Well, and they have that whole area dug up for Winnie the Pooh, for the gift shops, excuse me. It makes me wonder if could they be extending maybe a little bit outward of the land and maybe add in another building for Country Bear Hall to bring it back? I mean, with the newer Country Bear show,
like eventually, like it wouldn't open with Tiana's, no, but right. I mean, like down the, I mean, it's possible. You know what I'm saying? It depends. I mean, look, they invested in this attraction in Florida. They didn't have to do that. People don't seem to understand that, right? Oh, look at Disney, they messed up on this new version. And you don't have to like it, you know what I'm saying? Right. But I think we should.
They could have taken them out completely.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's no incentive to keep it there, really. I mean, I don't think the Country Bears are like a super hot IP. I'm even surprised they're doing this, to be honest with you, with the restaurant. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, you know what I'm saying?
Even the statue still had it didn't cost a lot of money, but the intricacy of detail that was put into that Big Al statue, I mean, someone still had to take time to make it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's interesting, so we'll see what happens. I hope we get a Country Bear.
Or do you think the Redwood Creek Challenge trail would?
It's possible.
Eventually.
That's possible. If it was up to me though, I would want animatronics in Grizzly, on Grizzly Mountain, because I think you take that attraction from like a C+ D- to like almost an E ticket just by adding the Country Bears and the music in that mountain. You elevate that experience so much with that. Redwood Creek Challenge, to me, I love it during Villains Grove.
Yes.
But it feels it's look, I give Universal a lot of crap, with like, I think the DreamWorks thing, it's like Camp Snoopy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Redwood Creek Challenge, it's Camp Snoopy, and that's fine. Camp Snoopy is fine for Knott's. It's a regional local park.
But when you tie something like that to Disney, though. Yeah,
I expect more for Disney. So I'm not a huge fan of it. I like it for Villains Grove, but I don't know. I think the Bears deserve a little better, but we'll see, We'll absolutely see. But Italiano, I want to thank you for joining me today talking about the Disneyland Union situation. I think Provost Park Pass had a fantastic video. I'll be linking it down below, by the way. Everyone, check out the full video if you check it out again if you'd like, or just go to his page and check out all his other content. He does a lot of great stuff. He's also got a lot of great jokes. So make sure you check it out.
He does.
Yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to his wife, Amanda. They're fantastic people. Support them 1,000%. But George, thank you so much for joining. If you could let everybody at home know where they could find you on social media.
Absolutely. And Chris, you and your wife always know you're always welcome on OG55 anytime if you want to stop by and have a conversation. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you can find me on social media. on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. Sticky George. He's a sticky guy. Thank you so much for watching this episode of OG55. Comment down below with all your opinions. But like Provost Park Pass says, we can disagree and still be friends. So just keep it civil in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of OG55.